Today on the Tech Drew Says podcast, I'll be discussing my tech year in review, my most used tech of the year, what I'm looking forward to in 2024, and other stuff too, so go ahead and stick around. Let's start with the everyday tech that I have upgraded over the last year, and the most important for me is probably the computer. For the last 6 years, I was using a 2017 iMac, and I got it to last a few years longer than I had anticipated, but it was starting to struggle pretty badly with even 1080p video, so it was time to upgrade. What I upgraded to was the M1 Ultra Max Studio, and when I first got it, I was encountering a few issues with kernel panics. When I looked into it, it's likely because I installed something that wasn't compatible with Apple Silicon, but since then it has mostly been resolved. Occasionally, I will still get a kernel panic, and I still find it absolutely infuriating. It never happens when I'm in the middle of work. It only happens occasionally when the computer goes to sleep. I haven't been able to identify what is causing it. I haven't been able to identify what I could do to resolve it because it is so intermittent. It is so random. I don't know what's causing it, but it is still currently a very rare issue. But if it does increase in frequency, I have Apple Care, so I'll take it back to Apple and have them replace it, have them fix it, have them resolve it, because this is my main production computer. This is my only production computer, so I need it to work in tip-top shape. If the kernel panics start occurring while I'm actually working and not overnight where I probably should be shutting down and restarting anyway, then I will get furious. I will take it to them and say, fix it! I gave you too much money for this to be happening. Other than that, rare occurrence, this has been a huge upgrade. The render and bounce times alone are worth the upgrade in my opinion, because on my old iMac with 2 streams of 1080p video for this podcast, it would take multiple hours to export and then upload. With this, if I was just doing 1080p, I could export that same episode, that same footage, the same effects in probably 15 minutes. But I screwed myself because with the upgrade to the Mac Studio, this is another thing I noted, I moved from 1080p up to 4K. So although I have a huge benefit exporting 1080p, I am now doing 4K, so the export times are not as bad as the iMac, but they aren't as great as I was hoping because I added a lot more computational power, computational requirements to the computer. On the note of upgrading to 4K, another big upgrade for me, quality of life upgrade, was switching from 64GB SD cards to 256GB SD cards. When I was doing 1080p, I think I had 18 hours of footage on them. It was incredible. But now I am back down to 4.5 hours because at 4K that takes up a lot more space. Since we're talking about video, let's talk about something else that I have upgraded that you are looking at, the lighting. Prior to what I am currently using, I was using some cheap, newer, flat panel LED things. They worked fine, they were bright, they were kind of consistent, but I had no idea what the temperature was. Because of that, I didn't have my camera set properly, and in my opinion, going back and looking at my older videos, everything looked kind of bluish, everything looked sterile, it looked like we were in a Best Buy or something. I kinda hate how those older videos look now. I didn't know that I hated it, but now I do know, because I switched to the Elgato key light, and a couple of key light airs, and with these, not only can I control them remotely, but I can change the color temperature of each of them and set them to an exact figure, an exact quantity. And because I know exactly what the color temperature is of all 3 lights, now I can set the cameras to have the proper color temperature, and I think the video looks significantly better than it did a year and a half ago. It looks more natural. I don't look so sickly. I don't look so pale. I don't look so gray. So in my opinion, it was a huge upgrade. The last upgrade that I made to my personal everyday tech is the phone. I switched from the iPhone 10, which was 6 years old, to the iPhone 15 Pro. I have had this for a couple of months now, and it has been working great. You may be asking, Bandrew, should I upgrade? I have no idea. I am not a power user. I don't need all the power that this thing offers. I didn't even think my iPhone 10 was running slow. I could have continued using that for years, but they stopped supporting it. The main thing that I needed in my iPhone 10 was a new battery, which I am sure I could have got, but they also stopped releasing security patches and iOS updates for iPhone 10, so I figured it was time to upgrade. I bought the 15 Pro because I wanted as much power as I could possibly get to hopefully get 6 years of use out of this because it is so much money. I want to get something that's going to last me as long as possible. Yes, the cameras on this are great. Yes, I love the 3 lenses. The screen looks great. Everything about it works wonderfully, but I don't see a huge performance upgrade from the iPhone 10 to the 15 Pro. If they would have replaced the battery, I would have stayed with the iPhone 10. When I saw the price of this phone when I was checking out, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to keep my iPhone 10 connected to a battery all the time because I cannot stomach what I am paying for this. That is all the tech that I have upgraded this year, and it has been quite a big tech year for me. I didn't think I upgraded a lot because a lot of this was earlier in the year, at least the big upgrades, the computer, the monitor, that stuff. But looking back, it's a big year, a lot of changes, and I think it's visible in the videos. Because I am back using index cards, I'm able to do this. Card 1 is done. Now let's talk about my most used tech of the year. We are going to start with audio gear. Microphone. What was the most used microphone? Surprise, surprise, the Shure SM7B. Including this episode, I used the 7B 8 times on this podcast. I was under the impression that I used the KMS-105 and U67 a lot more, but when I went back and looked at those playlists on this channel, I used each of them only 3 times. Maybe I used them a lot more on my watch channel or somewhere else, but 3 times doesn't seem like a lot. It's not a big surprise that the 7B is my most used mic. I got the 50th anniversary edition. That rekindled my excitement about it. I also wanted something that was a bit more familiar this year, so I went back to Old Faithful, the SM7B. Then we get to audio playback. What was my most used set of headphones over the year? To start out the year, I was using the HD 650s to track, but I got a little bit sick of the bleed from the metronome playing in my headphones, making it into the microphone. So what I did, I went to the Audio-Technica ATH M50Xs. The reason I chose those, they're very popular. I like using stuff that is popular because that gives me a better understanding of the vast majority of people, what they are going to experience. But also I have this really stupid idea of the Blue Jean equivalent, where I get something that is high quality, that is common, that gets better with age. You just use it. It is reliable. Blue Jeans, they're reliable. You can wear them for a long time. M50Xs, they are durable, they are reliable, you can use them for a long time. The SM7B, it is durable, it is reliable, you can use it for a long time. So I was thinking those were gonna be my headphones. Then I got a few comments from people on Twitter recommending the Rode NTH100s. Rode had sent me a pair of them along with the Rodecaster Pro 2, I think. They were just sitting on the shelf, so I took them out, threw them on. The sound of them was inoffensive, but most importantly, they were very comfortable. So for tracking, that is what I have used probably the most over the last 12 months. For critical listening, nothing has changed. My most used headphones are still the Sennheiser HD 650s. When I am not recording, that is what I am using. When I'm not worried about bleed, like a click track blasting in my headphones, that is what I will use. Nothing has changed. I still love them. They are still my favorite sounding headphones. Then we have my casual listening. For a while, I was using wired Dunu SA6s, which I need to get back to using, but then I switched to listening to a lot of stuff from my Apple Watch and my iPhone. So because of that, my most used headphone for casual listening is the AirPods Pro 2. Nothing has changed there. I think these were my most listened to headphone in 2022 as well. They sound fine. They're convenient. I love the active noise cancellation. I find them comfortable enough to listen to all day long. The battery life is plenty for me, and I like using them while I go for walks when I'm listening to music or podcasts. But for a while, I was using the Dunus for that. I'm going to get back to that because I have the Shanling little portable DAC, not DAC. What is it called? Why can't I think of this? My brain just went blank. Oh my gosh. DAP, digital audio player, you dope. And I also have my podcast player, the SanDisk Clip Mini, Clip Jam MP3 player. But because I still drive into work occasionally, I don't really like using the Clip Jam as much because that does not sync to my Overcast app, which is on my phone, which is what I play over my car stereo. So that is why the AirPods Pro are my most listened to casual headphone. Card 2 is done. Now let's talk about what tech I enjoyed the most over the last year. It just so happens that all of it is audio related. Big surprise, it's almost like I run an audio channel and I enjoy what I do. So everything that I picked is audio related. Number 1, preamps. Preamps have been so much fun to play with, to try to understand more, to drive them and understand what happens when they break up. The reason I've been trying to understand them more and to learn the characteristics of them is because I have been trying to actually get around to reviewing them. It has been fun. I've only done a few of the more affordable options out there. Now I'm going to be able to get into the higher end stuff that I have picked up. I'm going to be able to put it through its paces and understand what it's doing, the benefit that we get, or maybe the detriment that it causes to the audio. But regardless, it has been really exciting for me to learn more about them and understand a little bit more about preamps, why people like using outboard preamps, and what people might be looking for in those outboard preamps. Next, I have really been enjoying the small diaphragm condenser quite a bit more. The Neumann KM184 has been a blast to use. The KMS105 is also an SDC. In 2022, I was just learning what was available, learning a few microphone placements, and learning how to use them the best. But in 2023, I have been trying to understand them more, to actually implement what I have learned, and it has taught me a lot because I may think, yeah, just overhead mic. It's not as simple as that. It is very difficult to get an overhead miking position that sounds good in a space that isn't perfect, especially in a smaller space. So it has been so much fun learning more about SDCs, trying to understand proper mic placement, not just, yeah, you overhead mic, yeah, you underhead mic, yeah, you put it 6 inches off axis. That's not it. There's so much more to learn, and it has been so exciting and so much fun to explore that a bit more because I don't really play around too much with shotgun mics. So the SDC kind of fills that role for me. Next up is another microphone technology that is new to me that I have been learning a lot about: lavalier microphones, wireless transmitters and receivers. I haven't played with the Rode one, I haven't played with the DJI one, but I have been testing out and using the Deity wireless system. I can't remember which model this is. It's their more affordable one, the Pocket TX and Pocket RX. But again, it has been so much fun learning the characteristics of lavalier microphones, learning proper placement, trying to implement them into video production, and when I do that, I learn more than I could ever hope to with just testing it out for a single video. Actually trying to implement them and get the best sound possible teaches you so much more than just, okay, I know this is the best placement, and there you go, that's how it sounds. Implementing it into a video and trying to make it sound good, so much more fun. And the last piece of tech that I have really been enjoying this year is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but a metronome. I have been trying to relearn old guitar parts that I played, and I do not have the speed that I used to, and that sound has been a godsend as well as a demon sitting on my shoulder taunting me. Hey, you suck. Hey, play faster. Hey, get better. You're not on time. Not quite my tempo. You suck, you suck, you suck. Maybe I haven't been enjoying it. Maybe that's the wrong term, but it has been really helpful. I feel as though I have been playing tighter with a click track because I have been practicing more to a metronome. Looking back at old Bandrew, he didn't play to a click ever. He did not practice to a click, and it is obvious because old Bandrew and current Bandrew, still a kinda crappy rhythm player, does not play in the pocket with a click. I have been getting better at that. Still not good, certainly still not great, but I'm getting there. Little improvement after little improvement, and I'm slowly trying to get my speed back. So when I'm sleeping, I just hear that taunting me. My dreams, my nightmares, my everything is made up of a click track. Card 3 is done. Now we are on to what I am looking forward to in 2024. I am not looking forward to any computers. I'm not looking forward to any monitors, and I mean screens, not actual speakers, which is what a lot of people in the audio realm would call monitors because they are. I'm talking computer monitors. Not looking forward to any phones, not looking forward to any DAPs, not really looking forward to any headphones. What I am considering, though, a new Apple TV, because my Apple TV, I may have got it in 2017, so it's a bit outdated. It doesn't do 4K. It's starting to get a little bit slow. My TV's 1080p, so it wouldn't be the biggest upgrade, but I'm starting to consider maybe I should look into upgrading. There haven't been any groundbreaking revelations with the latest updates to the Apple TV, so I'm just going to keep my eye on what they do because maybe there will be a big update. I know the Apple TV seems stupid to a lot of people, and before I got one, I thought it was stupid, but it is what I use most outside of my DVD player, Blu-ray player, or hey, 4K player. I was talking about it. I did it. I just did it. I bought a Sony 4K UHD player, did a little bit of research on the reviews, and this was a good enough player. It was relatively affordable, $150. And the first 4K Blu-ray that I bought, I went through all of my collection. I had a number of 4K UHDs. The first one that I watched was Terminator 2. Why is the Terminator not on 4K UHD? Because I want the Terminator, not Terminator 2. That's the first one I watched. Looks great. But the first UHD Blu-ray that I bought intentionally, Black Christmas. It's a movie I watch every single year around Christmas time. I love this movie, and I am going to watch this after I finish all of my production for the coming weeks. So I got a 4K player. I'm really looking forward to consolidating my collections. This is going to be a bit of a rant. Over the last couple of years, I have had a bit of a hoarding issue, a bit of a collecting issue. Oh, I love DVDs. Oh, I love movies. So when I want to watch one, I need to buy it and have the DVD on my shelf. I do this sometimes without ever having seen the movie, without knowing if I actually enjoy the movie, and without knowing if I ever want to go back and re-watch the movie. That causes clutter, that causes a hoarding issue. So over the next year, I'm going to try to consolidate, get rid of a bunch of my collection. I'm going to try selling some on eBay to see if that is worthwhile or not. If it's too much of a hassle, I'm going to give stuff to the library. Hey, give this to somebody else. Let somebody check this out and rent it. That's a better way for that DVD, that movie, that CD to exist than just sitting on a shelf completely unused. So I want to get rid of all of the DVDs, all of the CDs that I don't really care about, that I don't listen to, that I don't revisit, and focus solely on collecting and maintaining and keeping only the stuff that I actually love, the stuff that I watch regularly, the stuff that I want to actually consume in the highest quality. For all the other stuff, I should just be renting it. Rent it for $1.99, $2.99, $3.99, and then let it disappear into the ether. Because a lot of this stuff, I'll watch it once, maybe twice. What would that cost me to rent? $6, $7 on the high end? How much does a Blu-ray cost? Maybe $6 or $7, but sometimes $15. Does the library have it? Maybe I could go check it out, watch it, return it, and go about my day. And if I love it enough to want to rewatch it over and over and over again, then consider buying something that'll cost you $15. That's a lot of money. And it takes up space. I have too much crap. I need to consolidate. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. Consolidating my hoarding down to actually collecting, because it is not a collection right now. It is just a hodgepodge of, oh, that's a good deal. I wanted to see that movie. I guess I'll buy that. Now it's sitting on my shelf and I'll never watch it again. Collection as opposed to hoarding. Card number 4 is done. On card number 5, it says super thanks on comp, meaning all of my super thanks are on the computer. If you don't know, this is a value for value show. I offer you all of the value that I have to give. I do not put the content behind a paywall. I do not have ads on this show. If you get any value, send it back in whatever form you think is appropriate. Time, talent, or treasure. Number 1 comes from Swing It. He says, here's $2 instead of carjacking you. Swing It, thank you very much for not carjacking me. Thank you very much for the $2 I really do appreciate it. The $2 is great and all, but the not carjacking me thing is so much better. I would accept $0 if everybody promised never to carjack me. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, I still want to be paid by my job, but I'm saying if you give me $0 in lieu of carjacking me, did that make sense? Don't carjack me and give me give me money and don't carjack me. Is that an option? Let's go with that one. Next week. What am I talking about? Next, we have €20 from TechMed Rainer Richter, who last week I think I called Tech Ted. I don't know why. Tongue-tied, I guess. TechMed Rainer Richter. He says, Donka, this was you, Bandrew Scott at his best. Detailed and thorough comparison of the two mics. It forced me to take off my Bluetooth headphones and switch to a proper open-back wired pair. Then there was the fun part that wasn't you, smiley face. Rainer, thank you so much for the €20 and thank you for those really kind words. It means a lot to me because sometimes I feel as though when I go into those thorough comparisons, it is just super dull and people are gonna have their eyes glaze over and click off and move on. But knowing that it does offer value, that it is interesting and people learn from it or enjoy it, really means a lot to me, and it tells me that I'm doing something right. So thank you so much for the €20, and more importantly, thank you so much for those kind and supportive words. We're actually going to wrap up there. I didn't pull any Ask Bandrews. I don't have any other comments for what you had to say. This was a little bit different than usual. It's not something that I have done before, but I found it fun and interesting. Hey, I did the thing. Fun, interesting, or helpful? I found it fun and interesting to go back and look at what has changed over the last year. I didn't do this for any kind of gratitude journaling or anything, but going back and looking at this really made me appreciate what I have. It made me understand how fortunate I am to have the computers, the cameras that have this capability, have the audio gear that I have access to all of this stuff that I get so much joy out of. Let me know what your year in review has been in terms of tech. Have you upgraded anything? Have you come to appreciate something that you already have? All of that stuff, let me know in the comments down below. Let's keep this conversation going. That is it. I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. Is that Christmas Eve? I think it may be. Thank you for coming by. I love you. Bye-bye. Whoa, whoa, boop.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.